Okay, I think we'll get started here now. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Leanne House. I'm General Manager of Westworld Tours, and I'll be facilitating the presentation this evening. Joining me to tell you a little bit about the incredible sights you'll see on this tour is Cindy Erickson, Tour Coordinator with Women Explorers and Westworld Tours. Welcome, Cindy.
Hi, Leanne. Thank you.
Thanks. Before I turn the presentation over to Cindy, I just have a couple of things that I'd like to go over with you. Okay, so here is our lineup of upcoming virtual presentations. So next week at 7 p.m. Saskatchewan time, we will be telling you all about our Alaska All Coach Tour. The following week, on March 30th, we will take you to the Land of Fire and Ice in Iceland. And after that, beginning of April, we will take you on a journey down to Seattle to see the Blue Jays take on the Seattle Mariners, and that's April 6th. If you've missed any of our previous presentations, we have them available for viewing on our website at westworldtours.com. If you would like to receive invites to future presentations, as well as timely information on new tours, we recommend you follow us on Facebook and sign up for our email newsletter. If you would, you won't be inundated with emails, and you can unsubscribe at any time. There may be a few more emails than normal at this time as we keep everyone informed on our virtual presentation series. And I'm going to launch a poll onto your screen right away here, asking you to let us know if you would like to receive our email newsletter. If you're already receiving it, you can let us know in the comments, or sorry, on the poll there. And if you are joining from Facebook, you will not see the poll appear on your screen. But if you would like to sign up for our email newsletter, you can do so by hitting the message button on Facebook and sending us a private message with your email address, or send a quick email to information@westworldtours.com, and we will ensure that you are included. And we encourage you to ask questions at any time throughout the presentation. With that being said, we do have everyone muted and ask that you please type your questions into the Q&A box located on your screen. If you joined us from Facebook, please type any questions you may have into the comments section. And again, we welcome all your questions, and we'll try to answer as many as we can at the end of the presentation. So a little bit about us. Women Explorers is a division of Westworld Tours, one of Western Canada's premier tour companies that has been serving Canadians from coast to coast with escorted travel throughout North America and around the world for over 20 years. On each of our tours, you'll experience the great sights, attractions, and activities that are important to you, trusting all the quality components of a successful trip are there, including excellent accommodations, modern, comfortable coaches, professional tour directors, experienced, courteous drivers, baggage handling, and several meals throughout the tour. Thousands of passengers have chosen Westworld Tours' first-class style of touring, enjoying the great value, security, and stress-free environment. Women Explorers is all about enriching the lives of women by exposing them to new experiences through travel and friendship, creating a fun and casual environment to connect as you explore the globe together. For women of all ages and backgrounds, our small group size delivers a highly personalized and rewarding travel experience with a group of like-minded women to share in those experiences. It's hard to believe until you've experienced it for yourself, but traveling with and getting to know women with common interests that you may never have met ordinarily can be as rewarding as the travel itself. We invite you to explore the history, mystery, culture, nature, and adventure with us as we travel the globe. We know great friendships will be formed. And we invite you to join us this summer, July 15th to 29th, on our Shamrocks and Shenanigans tour to wonderful Ireland. As the Irish saying goes, your feet will bring you to where your heart is. From the Irish people's sparkling wit, hospitality, and cozy pubs to the Isle's incredible emerald landscapes and spectacular coastlines, this country packs quite a punch. See the history, experience the culture, and explore Ireland's natural and historical wonders as we travel from Dublin to Doolin and points beyond. surprising moments, epic adventures, and all that can happen in between. And now I am pleased to introduce you to Cindy Erickson, Senior Tour Coordinator with Westworld Tours. Cindy's passion for travel has taken her to many destinations around the globe, bringing a wealth of knowledge and experience to her role as tour coordinator. And I know that Cindy is very excited to tell you about this tour because she recently, well, not recently, I guess, a couple of years ago, pre-COVID, traveled to Ireland and has so many great stories to share with you guys tonight.
Yeah, well, thanks, Leanne. It's great to be here. And yes, I am excited to share a little bit of Ireland with everybody. I do have my green on. This is one of my beautiful scarves that I picked up in Ireland when I was there in 2019. As you can see, it's green and it's covered with all these great little sheep. They're so cute. I just love them. I hope everybody else has their green on as well. I see, Leanne, you're wearing green tonight. That's great. Happy St. Paddy's Day to everybody. And let's go on here. The first thing I have to tell you about Ireland is visiting in July truly is the best and warmest time to go. The landscapes are at their most vibrant and the days are at their longest. And one thing I did find out and learn on my journey to Ireland was that the most predictable thing about this trip is the unpredictable weather. And it's a great idea to bring along a hooded rain jacket and some sunscreen because you're likely going to need one or the other or both. I truly did not expect to go to Ireland and get sunburned, and I did. So the weather was just absolutely incredible in July. 2 weeks. If it rained, it sprinkled. It was more like a mist than a rain, and beautiful weather. Anyway, if you're anything like me, I do have this slide in here for everybody because I'm an extremely visual individual and I really like to know and see, layout of where I'm traveling to. So I've included a slide showing a couple of maps here. On the left side of the screen is the route our tour will travel, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And the one on the right side of the screen is where I've actually overlaid in gray the island of Ireland on top of Saskatchewan and Western Canada to provide everybody with some perspective on the size of Ireland. And as you can see, Ireland is quite small, yet jam-packed with incredible sights, wonderful people, and awesome experiences. I've got a few fun facts here for you. From east to west, Ireland is only 174 miles wide. That's technically like driving from Saskatoon to Regina, a quick 2.5-hour drive. In Ireland, it does take a lot longer. That's one thing I did find out, that the distances in Ireland do not compute to the time. So when it's only 60 kilometers, it could take you 1.5 hours to 2 hours to reach that destination. At its longest point, from north to south, it's only 302 miles wide. And actually, the drive from Regina to Medicine Hat is even longer. Now, just a quick overview of our tour. As you can see on the map on the left side of the screen, the tour travels a circle starting and ending in Dublin. We're going to, cover the rural and green landscapes of the Midlands of Ireland, visiting ancient Athlone. Then we'll explore the wild Atlantic Way on the west coast and travel over to the incredible Aran Islands, followed by a stop and a stay in my favorite town in Ireland, which is Dublin. And then we're going to go south from there and travel to beautiful Killarney. And we're going to spend 3 nights in Killarney there. That's one thing on this tour. We do have multiple night stays in almost all of our overnight cities and towns. Anyway, from Killarney, we will head north to Kilkenny, to the ancient east, and Kilkenny is actually the medieval center of Ireland, and it's a great, great stop before we head back to Dublin and make our way home. So that's basically the route of our tour. And now I'll kind of move into the itinerary a little bit deeper for you. So obviously we're going to depart from Canada, or for wherever your home city is. It's most likely going to be an overnight flight, as are most flights to Europe. Generally, we will provide you with a preferred itinerary and a flight schedule so that we're all arriving into Dublin the following morning around the same time, where we're going to be picked up at the airport, and we're going to head straight into a city tour of Dublin. Obviously, you usually get in around mid-morning into Dublin, and our hotel check-in is until a little bit later. So we do take advantage of that time, and we'll do a city tour. But I have to tell you my experience of my first visit to Ireland and flying into Dublin and going through customs. Honestly, I was blown away. It was by far the warmest welcome and friendliest experience I've ever experienced with any customs officer anywhere. And I did find out that jovial atmosphere, the warmth and the friendliness of the people, it didn't stop there. It just carried on. The people in Ireland are warm, welcoming, and amazing, and full of life and fun. But on our city tour, we're going to see the Georgian squares with their 18th century houses, St. Patrick's Cathedral, and there's an image there on the top right hand of your screen. That is actually a picture of St. Patrick's Cathedral. And then we'll drive around Phoenix Park, which is actually the largest city park or urban park in Europe. We'll see statue-filled O'Connell Street. And on the bottom right corner of the screen, there is an image of fashionable Grafton Street, which is really Dublin's lively entertainment and shopping district with buskers, artists, musicians, and shops that stretch as far as the eye can see. A great place to get to for sure. We're going to visit Trinity College, which houses the Book of Kells, and we're going to visit the long room in the old library. And that's the picture on the left-hand side of your screen, the incredible, incredible long room in the library. This amazing library looks like something out of a Harry Potter movie, and it's considered to be one of the world's most beautiful libraries. It was built in the 1700s, and it measures 215 feet long and houses over 200,000 of the library's oldest and rarest books. It's really an incredible place to see. After that, you're going to have we'll check into the hotel, and you're going to have the rest of the afternoon to get out and explore Dublin on your own. And we'll come together that evening for a welcome dinner where you get a chance to get to know your fellow explorers and travelers a little bit more. And that's our day one. It's going to be a full day. And then that night, you're going to want a good rest because we're going to get up and get going in the morning. But here, I didn't explain to you on the middle image on your screen on the right-hand side there. That's actually a picture of the Halfpenny Bridge. And there's a good story that goes along with that. And after all, it is Ireland, and everything you will find out has a story. Okay. The next morning, as I said, you're going to find yourself traveling through the green fields and rolling hills of the Irish Midlands. And we're going to arrive in a town called Mullingar. And that top right image on your screen is really iconic, typical scenic landscape that you're going to be driving through, the rolling hills, the green, the green, the green. Honestly, the pictures and the green of Ireland, it doesn't display the green that there is. You'd be amazed. It's greener than you think. When we arrive in Mullingar, we're going to take a guided cycling tour. And don't worry, if you haven't been on a bicycle for a long time, it's like the old saying goes, it's just like riding a bicycle. And it's on a relatively flat trail. And if you're worried about all the pedaling, you don't need to worry about that either, because there are electric bikes available. So that really limits your pedaling if you're concerned about that at all. But it's a relatively flat trail, as I said, along the Royal Canal. And if you look on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see that canal there with the stone wall and then a little patch of grass. And along that is the actual trail that you will be pedaling on and cycling on. It is the old tow path of for the canals and the boats as they used to get pulled down the canal. And on the bottom right-hand picture is one of the stops that we'll be making on our guided bicycle tour, which is Loch Owl, which is one of the lakes. It's the picturesque lakes. It's a beautiful spot. And of course, another stop that we're going to be making is that little picture kind of in the center bottom of your screen, which is at St. Brigid's Well. And our local guide is going to fill you in on that one for sure. Lots of history in this area, lots of stories. He's going to fill you in on the history of the area, the characters of the area, and some of the folklore and legends as well. A little fun fact about this canal that we're going to be traveling along. It was actually started in 1790 and it took 22 years to complete. It's only 90 miles in long, and it has 46 different locks within that 90 miles. Now, don't worry, we're not riding the whole 90 miles. We're not cycling the whole 90 miles. It's just a nice, gentle, relatively short cycle tour. And anyway, the canal was permanently shut down in 1961 when it fell into disrepair. And in 1974, a volunteer organization was formed to help save the canal. And after much hard work, they reopened the canals again for navigation in 2010. And the towpaths that you're going to be cycling on create Ireland's longest off-road walking and cycling trail. It's pretty cool. And more recent history about this area, which is in the county of Westmeath, where Mullingar is located. It was Michael Jackson's favorite part of Ireland. The King of Pop visited the Emerald Isles many times and even lived just outside of Mullingar for a short period of time. Just a little interesting fun facts for you. From Mullingar, after our bicycle tour, we'll have a little stop there in Mulligan and have some refreshments and some tea along the Royal Canal and just to have a nice quiet time. And then we're going to head off to our next stop, which is in Athlone, the riverside town of Athlone for the night. And it's home to the bold and imposing Athlone Castle, which played a strategic role in Irish history. And the castle is pictured on the top right hand of your screen. On the guided tour of the castle, which is more than 800 years old, you're going to hear the tales of battles fought, walk in the footsteps of royalty and monks, and learn all about the Great Siege of Athlone. And there's other must stops in Athlone as well. On the left side of your screen, you're going to see the image there. Across from the castle is St. Peter and St. Paul's Cathedral with its recognizable two towers and a dome. And in the foreground of this picture, you're going to see a smaller building right next to the waterfront there to the river, and it has a bunch of windows in it. That is actually the Luin Art Gallery, and it's a showcase for the most interesting artists from Ireland and abroad. Entry is completely free, and if you'd like a one-on-one tour, that's free too. It's a fantastic place for you to spend some free time or some leisure time when we're in Athlone. And then on the bottom right-hand corner, that colorful building called Shawn's Bar with the beautiful pink flowers all over it there. That is Shawn's Bar. And when you pull up a chair here, you join countless others who have done so for generations. That's because this humble little pub originally was an inn and happens to be the oldest in Ireland. A fun fact, a renovation was done to this building in the 1970s that uncovered walls that were constructed by an ancient method along with old coins and other artifacts that were, and when they examined them all, they determined them to be at least 900 years old. And the findings are now housed in Ireland's National Museum. And the pub earned the Guinness World Record for the oldest public house in Ireland. And it might be the history that draws visitors to the humble pub, but it's the hospitality and the atmosphere that really keeps everybody coming back. It's a great little spot. We'll make sure we stop there for sure. And after our night in Athlone, we depart that, and we're going to start making our way into Galway City. And as we travel towards Galway, we're going to stop in the town of Portumna for a guided tour of the Irish Workhouse Centre. Now, the Irish Workhouse has been described as the most feared and hated institution that was ever established in Ireland. And sadly, this is one of many that were in operation in Ireland and used as a place of shelter for the poor and homeless during the Great Famine. And when we're here, you'll listen to the stories of the famine and learn what life was like for those that were forced by circumstance to seek shelter here. It's a sobering time in Irish history, but it's a very important to hear about this part of Irish history. Life in the workhouse was meant to be harsh so as not to encourage people to stay. The workhouse was not a prison, and they were surrounded by high walls, which are no longer in that image you can see on the bottom right-hand corner. But they were surrounded by these high walls, and they weren't there to keep the people in. They were actually there to keep the people out, which is even sadder. It's a painful time, as I said, in Ireland's history, and walking through the dormitories, seeing the straw mats, hearing the stories from our guides. It truly was a really emotional and moving experience for me when I visited, and I'm very glad that I went and learned more about the Irish famine and what happened in Ireland during those years. Actually, 180 years later, and Ireland's population still hasn't fully recovered from the famine. Pre-famine, the population in 1841 in Ireland was like 6.5 million people. And in 2020, it was just shy of 5 million people. So 180 years, and they still haven't recovered the population that was lost during that tragic time. Enough about the famine. We'll head to Galway City, which is a vibrant place to be, and there's always something happening in Galway. The city is often referred to as the City of Tribes. The picture on your screen is of the 14 flags that line Irish Square, and they reference the 14 tribes of Galway, or the 14 merchant families of Galway that once dominated between the mid-13th and the late 19th centuries. Our local guide, Brian Nolan, who is a storyteller and Galway walking tour guide extraordinaire, will tell you all about the tribes and share compelling stories of the past. He's going to entertain you with his wit and wisdom, and he will definitely mix in some good old Irish blarney. You can count on it. He's an incredible individual with a great deal of knowledge. You'll enjoy his company very much. Not only is Galway, as I mentioned, a vibrant city, but it is also a university city. So it's not only a university city, but it's a leading seaside destination in Ireland as well. So they have a promenade that stretches for 2 kilometers along the waterfront, and it's a wonderful place to spend a sunny summer afternoon on the promenade. There's some images here throughout Galway. On the bottom right is the colorful houses of the Clodagh in Galway, which is actually the oldest part of Galway City. And on the bottom left-hand side of the screen is a shot of the university, which is one of the older universities within Ireland. And on the top left corner is the Lynch Memorial window, and you're going to learn more about that on your walking tour through Galway City with Brian. On the top there is a picture that Brian had sent to us of a beautiful sunny day that they were out strolling along the canal, and just this is the images that you will see. History all around you. It's absolutely beautiful. And there's so much to explore in Galway besides the promenade, obviously. A highlight is the Latin Quarter with its medieval cobblestone pedestrian streets, which are best defined by some of Galway's most historic landmarks and characterized by buskers, boutiques, unique shops, cafes, bars, and restaurants. On the top left corner of your screen here is an image of the Spanish Arch, which was built in 1584. The ruling class in Dublin at the time, which would have been part of the 14 tribes, said that Galway is more Spanish than Irish because of the number of Spaniards that took up residence here. And the Spanish galleons would often dock along the arch. And for this reason, the arch was coined after the Spanish, and it's now called the Spanish Arch, and it's stuck. Galway's main shopping district is built around the aptly named Shop Street, which is the small picture at the bottom center of your screen. That's the main shopping area is built around Shop Street. But you want to be sure to veer away from the main street to discover the many hidden gems that can be found on Galway's little side streets. Like Buttermilk Lane, which is there on your right-hand side of the screen. There's many little quaint little side streets that you need to get out and explore as well. And you're going to have time to explore the city and its charming streets on your own as well. Before we head to Salt Hill for an evening of entertainment. And the shortest walking tour of Ireland, which is the 50-foot tour of the colorful O'Connor's pub in Salt Hill. We have the entire pub to ourselves before they officially open to the public, where you can fill your own pint of Guinness behind the famous bar. Learn how to pour that perfect pint. And we're going to spend a grand evening with our local guide, Brian, sitting fireside in this quirky and historic place as he shares nonstop stories with no set script. It's truly an interactive and fun evening. You're going to have a great time at this night on the shortest walking tour of Ireland. O'Connor's pub in Salt Hill is chock full of oddities and antiques. And you can see here, like in your bottom right hand, there's a picture of Brian. You can see him there with a Guinness in his hand sitting in front of the fireplace in O'Connor's in Salt Hill. And on the top, you can see that every night they've got their live entertainment there, local live entertainment. And it really is a great place to spend an evening. The locals will mix. It's a great mix after they open to the public. So a little fun fact, in 2017, Tom O'Connor, who is the owner of O'Connor's, was approached by people looking to film a promotional tourism video for Welcome Ireland. They wanted to shoot inside this particular pub. And he said, sure, he accepted the offer. But what he didn't know was that his pub was about to be catapulted into world fame. And there was no tourism video, as it turned out. Instead, Ed Sheeran showed up to shoot his music video for Galway Girl inside the pub. This is an image here while they were doing the filming of the music video of Ed Sheeran. There's another image of him again in O'Connor's pub. And yeah, it made quite a splash. They still have the original fiddle that was used in the making of the music video. And many an Ed Sheeran fan show up to get their picture taken with the fiddle. But it really is a fascinating place, and you're going to have a great time that evening. We're going to leave Galway and we're going to leave it behind, and we're going to head into the Connemara Park region and the magical and mystical Kylemore Abbey, which is located in the Connemara National Park. You're going to journeying into the history of Kylemore Abbey is perhaps more accurately described as venturing into a great fairy tale of the 19th century. And truly, who doesn't love a good love story? Now, the love story is way too lengthy for me to share with you this evening, but let me just say the remarkable history of Kylemore Abbey began in the late 1800s and originally called Kylemore Castle and was built as a private family home. It was purchased by Benedictine nuns in 1920, converting the estate into the self-sustaining working monastery that it is today. They've restored the peace, the magic, and the beauty that once existed at Kylemore Abbey. We're going to go on a tour with an Abbey guide, and who I'm sure is going to tell you the rest of the love story, so don't worry about that. You can spend some time in the incredible, beautiful Victorian walled garden there. You can visit the restored chapel, and there is a story behind the chapel. Or you can stroll one of the many walking paths throughout the estate. It truly is set in a magical location on the lake. You can see there the building on a calm day, the reflection of the actual abbey or the castle reflecting off the water. It truly is a magical location. There's also a legend that goes with the lake that the abbey is located on. And like I said, it is Ireland. Everything comes with a story. We're going to move on and we're going to explore more of the Connemara National Park, which is known for being one of the world's most beautiful natural landscapes, which you can appreciate as you see in the images shown on your screen here. The images, like I said, pictures just don't do Ireland justice. You just can't. You can't get it in a picture. As much as I wish I could give it to you in a picture, you can't. It's home to some of the country's finest walks and hiking paths, making it best explored on foot, which you will have the opportunity to do on the Diamond Hill Trail, which there's a picture there on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen is a shot of the Diamond Hill Trail. Along with the incredible landscapes, you'll see green meadows with grazing sheep. And if we're lucky, we're going to catch a glimpse of the herd of the wild Connemara horses. You can visit, we're going to visit the National Park Visitor Center to learn more about the park. We can go to the tea room, we can pick up a coffee or a tea and some homemade goodies before we venture onto the trail. And while you're on the trail, there's, like you could see in that picture before, there's stone pathways. There's also sections of boardwalk over the rich boglands. And you can see that on the top right-hand side of your screen. And you're going to enjoy the fantastic views and the tranquility of the surrounding countryside. It truly is a beautiful, beautiful spot. The image on the left-hand side of your screen is actually taken from the Diamond Hill Trail lookout. So when you get to the top of Diamond Hill, this is what you see looking out from the top. And then at the bottom there, there's just another picture of the beauty of nature that can be found everywhere in Connemara Park. So beautiful spot. We're going to leave Connemara National Park. We're going to head over to Rosavale to board the ferry for a 40-minute ride across Galway Bay. We are heading, I should say, west here. So delivering us to the town of Kilronan on Inishmore, where we're going to stay for 2 nights on the incredible island of Inishmore. Inishmore, it might be, there's 3 islands that make up the Aran Islands, and Inishmore is the largest of the 3, and but it's really still quite small. It's only roughly 8.5 miles long by 2.25 miles wide, with a permanent population of just under 900 people. and you can really mix and mingle with the locals here. And it was truly a highlight of my trip to Ireland, when I was able to go over to the Aran Islands and spend a night there. It's so quaint, quiet, and easy to explore. It's full of cliffs, ancient forts, incredible views, incredible ocean views, quaint cafes, lively pubs, and of course, the famous Aran sweaters. This is where the Aran sweaters are made. And there's 3 ways to get around the island of Inishmore. You can walk, you can rent a bike and cycle, or you can take one of the jaunties, which is, you can see a picture there on the bottom right of the horse and cart. And I can almost guarantee the chap driving the cart will have a million colorful tales to tell you of the island's past. And when I went, we rented bikes for the one day and headed off on our merry way. We either rode or walked at a leisurely pace to most of the sites, stopping from time at time at one of the uncrowded and beautiful beaches, dipping our toes into the water. That picture of the 3 bicycles is my picture, where just behind that stone wall there where we stopped was an incredible, beautiful beach. And that picture kind of below it on the small one there with the beach scene is the picture of the beach behind that stone wall. And you can see my baskets are full. All of our baskets are full in that picture on the bikes, because of course we had to stop at one of the quaint shops and do a little shopping as well. And I did purchase an Aran sweater while I was there, and I wear it plenty, especially this winter. And yeah, so it's an incredible place to visit. And let's see what have we got on our next slide. And these are my images as well. So as I said, one of the best things to do on the Aran Islands really is to just stop and soak up the sights, the sounds, and the smells that seem to hit you from every angle. The salt in the air from the ocean as the wind blows it in. It's an experience that you know, all your senses come into play on the Aran Islands. Whether you ride a bike or you walk or you climb aboard a horse and cart, one of the biggest joys of exploring Inishmore is the mile after mile of hand-built stone walls that you travel alongside. And really chatting with the locals is wonderful. English really is a second language here on the Aran Islands, and the residents mostly speak Gaelic as their first language. And when I was chatting with a fellow there who was about the same age as myself, in one of the 2 local pubs that are on the island, he told me he didn't learn to speak English until he left the island for the first time at the age of 19. So it really wasn't until more recent times that the Aran Islands didn't become quite so secluded and have opened up more. And truly the islands are credited with saving the Gaelic language. Very interesting place to go. So after enjoying a 2-night stay, it's another ferry ride of about 40 minutes again to my favorite little village in Ireland, which is Dublin. And on our ride, we did witness the bottlenose dolphins that are in Galway Bay. They were swimming and jumping out of the water alongside the ferry as we were crossing the bay. And the picture there on the left-hand side of your screen is actually the sign for the Dublin Pier. And it's just an old fishing boat chocked full of beautiful flowers, and it says the Dublin Pier. And that's Ireland's small town, village, countryside life. It's just incredible. And Dublin is a tiny coastal village with a population of just over 500 people. It's colorful and full of charm. There's lively pubs like Gus O'Connor's, famous the world over for its traditional music and a fun atmosphere. It's got a great mix at O'Connor's of locals and visitors. And while we're here in the Dublin area, you're also going to visit the impressive Alwee Cave. And you can see there in the center right-hand side of the screen is actually a shot of the entrance to the Allway Cave. And you're going to have a really unique experience. You're going to be led by a cave expert, and you're going to explore the beauty beneath the burn. The cave was discovered by accident by a local farmer by the name of Jack McGann in 1940, who kept the cave a secret for 33 years. And another thing I discovered when I was at the Allway Cave, not only will you experience, like I said, the beauty beneath the burn, but if you're a cheese lover like myself, a must stop is at the gift shop here to sample some of the local cheeses because they have so many delicious flavors. I think I walked out of there with 4 or 5 different blocks to take along with me. And when they were all gone, I wanted to go back for more. So when we're there, if you're getting some cheese, make sure you get enough that's going to satisfy you, because we probably won't have a chance to get back. The picture on the left-hand side of your screen is a picture of one of the great little cafes in the town of Doolin called the Ivy Cottage. It's a great place to have lunch there. And see that top right-hand picture is a colorful picture of Doolin, and a funny story. That is my picture as well. A funny pic. I was trying to find a spot to take a photo of Doolin that would bring in the color and the beauty that is there. And I was struggling to find, I'm not a photographer by any means, but I was trying to find the perfect shot that would capture it. And I was struggling. And all of a sudden I looked over and I saw a gentleman with this big camera and a big backpack, and was certainly looking very much and acting very much like a professional photographer. So I just walked over to him and I said, I'm sorry to bother you and interrupt you, but are you a photographer? And he goes, yeah, I'm here. I'm actually working for a travel magazine, and I'm here to capture images of Doolin. And I said, oh, that's great. I said, do you mind if I follow along behind you and snap photos from your location as you leave? And he goes, by all means, go for it. So that beautiful picture on the top right-hand set of your screen is thanks to a professional photographer. And I think I did capture the town of Doolin quite well in that image. Also, Doolin is known as the closest town to the beautiful and impressive Cliffs of Moher. And a visit to Doolin would not be done unless you did visit the Cliffs of Moher. And we're definitely going to stop at the Cliffs of Moher. We'll do more than just stop at the Cliffs of Moher. The cliffs rise to 702 feet at their highest point and range for 8 kilometers over the Atlantic Ocean. The sheer scale and dramatic impact of the cliffs never ceases to amaze and delight in equal measure. There's no better way to see the Cliffs of Moher than experiencing it with on a guided cliff walk with someone who lives here. They've played, they've worked, and they've walked this area their entire life. They know the best viewpoints where you can take the best pictures. And there are so many things to see along the way that you miss if you just drive to the top of the cliffs. You get to see the puffins nesting and the one and only waterfall, which is only visible from land on the walk. Your guide's going to tell you all about the history of the area, share all the stories, and will likely know the name of every horse and every cow that you're going to pass by on your way on the walk to the cliffs. It is a gentle incline. You're rising from basically sea level up to 702 feet over about an 8-kilometer stretch. And really, you get to experience the cliffs, which are so much more than just the view at the top. And after all, really, the joy is in the journey, not in the destination. These are some images that I took on the cliff walk to the cliffs. And on the left-hand side, peeking over the arched bridge, that's Dunagar Castle, which was built in the 16th century, which of course comes with a story. And the middle picture is at the top of the cliffs, and it's called O'Brien's Tower, with a top floor viewing platform that offers you incredible views. You can actually see the Cliffs of Moher, the Aran Islands from the Cliffs of Moher on the top of O'Brien's Tower on a clear day. And I mean, that's a 40-minute ferry ride for distance. So it's an incredible views on top of O'Brien's Tower. And on the bottom right-hand corner, that's the Cliffs of Moher Visitor Center, which is really a very unique and fascinating center that was built into the side of the hill. It's a must stop to see. And then also up at the top, you can see in the top right-hand image, there are a number of shops at the top at the Cliffs of Moher as well that are also built into the side of the hill. It's really a very interesting and unique place. A beautiful, incredible views. So during your stay in Doolin, like as I mentioned, the Burn, and the Burn is an area in and around the Doolin area. And we're going to visit the Burn. And you've already seen the beauty beneath the Burn, and now you're going to see the beauty on top of the Burn. And I can tell you, it truly looks otherworldly. The name itself means place of stone, and it truly is a wonder of limestone lunar landscapes. There's megalithic monuments and beautiful botany. Some fun facts. One of the only places in the world where Arctic, alpine, and Mediterranean plants grow side by side. It is home to over 600 flowering plants, more than 20 types of orchids, some that grow nowhere else in the world. There's really no landscape quite like it. And at first glance, you're going to think it's bleak and barren. But when you look closer, you can see it's teeming with life. And you wonder how does anything survive on that landscape, yet the cattle were fat. These are just some images taken throughout the Burn region. And you can see on the bottom right-hand corner there, that image, it clearly shows you the unique formation of the limestone. And in the top right-hand corner of your screen is Mullimore Mountain, which is made of limestone and carved from years of wind and water erosion into the distinctive circular formation that you see there. And in the bottom middle image, that is Pulmonary Dolmen, which is one of Ireland's most iconic and oldest megalithic monuments, dating back to almost 6,000 years. And you're definitely stopping to see the Pulmonary Dolmen for sure. Bottom left is just an image of some of the foliage, where you can see that the wild geraniums are just growing right out of the limestone cracks. And in the top left is an image I'm sure you're all familiar of. It's one of those beautiful fuchsias that I try to grow every year in my hanging baskets, which I cannot keep alive. Well, here in the Burn region, like they're wild and they grow in hedges, as you can see in that picture on the right hand, in the center at the top of your screen. Absolutely beautiful, these hedges, and they're just covered with fuchsias, and I'm so envious because I can't keep them alive at home. But Killarney. After our travels through the Burn region, we're going to arrive into this town of Killarney. Pardon me. Killarney is beautiful. Like so many Irish towns, there are plenty of quaint shops, lively pubs, and historic sites to visit. My favorite time in Killarney was spent exploring the Killarney National Park. Unbelievably beautiful. And enjoying the traditional music and atmosphere at my favorite local pub, Murphy's. And you'll find at Murphy's, if there's an empty seat at your table, don't be surprised if one of the locals sits down to join you for the evening, which truly only adds to the evening's local entertainment. I had a great evening there, met some wonderful local people, and they just added to the atmosphere and the evening's entertainment for sure. The left image on your screen is a beautiful Ross Castle, which is a 17th century tower house and keep that sits on the edge of Killarney's lower lake. It was built by an Irish chieftain, O'Donoghue, in the 15th century. And of course, this being Ireland, there is a legend that O'Donoghue still exists in a deep slumber under the water of Lake Lough, Loughlin. On the first morning of May, every 7 years, he rises from the lake on his magnificent white horse and circles the lake. And anyone catching a glimpse of him is said to be assured good fortune for the rest of their lives. Now, being we're there in July, we won't have the chance to catch a glimpse of O'Donoghue, but I guarantee you will catch more than a glimpse of the beauty to be held in Killarney National Park. On the left side is just some images taken from around the town of Killarney. Here we are on day 10, all of a sudden, of the journey. And a must do while in Killarney is walking the gap, which is a stunning walk through the gap of Dunlough. A narrow mountain path is cut through the hills with fantastic views. You start at Kearney's Cottage, which is a 150-year-old family-run establishment with a story, of course. And you'll hear about that story. And you're going to follow a path that's lined with tiny little wildflowers over streams and bridges. And the first bridge you arrive at is an old arched bridge called the Wishing Bridge. And that image there on the top right-hand side of your screen is an image of the Wishing Bridge. And it's so named as the story is told that wishes made while upon it are destined to come true. So you got to make sure you make your wish when you cross the Wishing Bridge. You're going to stroll past 5 pristine lakes with sheep grazing on the hillsides and sometimes on the road. You'll pass charming farmhouses, stopping at viewpoints along the route that will leave you in awe. The incredible walk ends once you arrive at the gates of Lord Brian's cottage. Now the gates, there is an image on the top left-hand side of your screen. And here you can grab a refreshment and maybe a quick something to eat before the next part of this adventure begins, and returning to Killarney with a boat ride on the enchanting 3 lakes of Killarney. There's the upper lake, the middle lake, and the lower lake. And they all conclude, the tour will conclude at Ross Castle. And I swear, if you do a Google image search for Killarney, it's likely Ross Castle is going to be the first image that you're going to see. And the castle does have a rich and slightly quirky history and is beautiful. It's been carefully restored, complete with the addition of time-appropriate furnishings, and you can take a guided tour of the castle with your free time after, if you choose. It's a small fee. I think it's only €4, about €4 to take the guided tour. It's a great tour, and it is very informative. I'm sure you would enjoy that. Still in Killarney, day 11. We're going to explore more of the park, and I should tell you too that Ross Castle is located in Killarney National Park. There's a lot of stunning places in Killarney National Park, and besides the park and the landscape itself. And we found that there's no better way to enjoy this park than on a gentle trail ride led by an experienced guide. You're going to ride over vast green meadows where you quite often catch sight of the red deer that call the park home, as you can see in the image in the bottom right of your screen. You're going to go past the sparkling lakes and green mountains. It's really easy to spend a full day in Killarney National Park. The top right picture on your screen is an image that I captured too on one of the trails that wanders around Muckross Lake. And it is an absolutely gorgeous walk or bike ride. About halfway around the lake, you're going to arrive at the charming 200-year-old Dennis Cottage, which that picture on the top right-hand screen is of. And you can stop here for a refreshment, maybe grab a light lunch or a snack, and carry on your way, where you can walk down some of the trails that will take you to the Old Weir Bridge, which is the meeting of the waters, where the three lakes come together and meet. And just hanging out in Killarney National Park is a great way to spend your day. And that doesn't even encompass Muckross House and Gardens, which is a 19th century Victorian mansion, which is set against the stunning beauty of Killarney National Park. The house stands close to the shores of Muckross Lake, which is one of Killarney's three lakes. It's famed worldwide for their splendor and beauty, the lakes are. As you can see in the image in the top right-hand picture, there is a picture of Muckross House, and you can see the mountains and the lake in the background there, and the lush lawn in front of Muckross House. And then, I mean, the gardens there, as you can see by these images, are immaculate and absolutely stunning. I was in awe walking around in this park. And then not only is there the Muckross House and Gardens to see, but there's also Muckross Traditional Farms, and which truly is a step back into the past, where you're going to visit a very different Ireland, and it's the Ireland of the 1930s or the 40s. And really, you know, at that time, there was still no running water, there was no electricity, that, you know, the women still had to go to the well to get their water, and everything was baked over an open fire. And they still do that today. And there's three types of farms that they have: three, a small farm, a medium farm, and a large farm. And you can learn all about the life during rural Ireland in the 1930s and 40s. It was a fascinating visit to Muckross Traditional Farms. Then when we leave beautiful Killarney behind, we spend some time in the town of Kilkenny. And my daughter, who was on my trip with me in 2019, couldn't wait to get to Kilkenny because she wanted to have a Kilkenny beer in Kilkenny, Ireland, where Kilkenny is brewed. And she did. And it's one of her favorite moments on her journey through Ireland. But Ireland and Kilkenny, Kilkenny is really truly known as the medieval center and the medieval capital of Ireland. And it's home to a beautifully restored and impressive castle. It's got quaint medieval streets, plenty of shopping, and like all of Ireland, wonderful hospitality. Kilkenny is a scenic city best explored on foot, and we will be doing that on a guided walking tour of the Medieval Mile. And your guide's going to bring to life the fascinating stories and characters of Kilkenny's medieval history. And as you can see here on your left, that is a partial view, aerial view of Kilkenny Castle. It is very large and hard to fit into one picture. And the middle and right pictures on the screen here are a couple of the shopping streets. It's High Street on the middle of your screen, and that is Kieran Street on the right-hand side of your screen. Great shopping streets there. And these are a few more pictures that are taken along the Medieval Mile. And on the right is a picture of the Butter Slip, which is a narrow street running between two large stone houses. And it's aptly named because it was dark and cool and therefore ideal for storing and selling of butter. And I'm sure, as you can imagine, it earned the name Butter Slip, as those streets throughout the day most likely got slippery. Today, this medieval alleyway of Butterslip is lined with various shops and serves as a shortcut between the other two shopping streets. So I know in your free time in Killarney or Kilkenny, pardon me, you'll probably end up traveling down the Butterslip a couple of times. The center picture is a picture of the beautiful south-facing stained glass panels of the rosary window in the Black Abbey. Now, the Black Abbey is one of Ireland's oldest churches. And on the right-hand side is a picture of Workhouse, which is situated right in the middle of the medieval mile and is one of Ireland's true hidden gems. It was built in the late 1500s on a barrage plot and is the only one of its type that's open to the public in Ireland. And it's definitely worth a visit. Magnificent Kilkenny Castle, which overlooks the River Nore. It has protected for over 900 years. It's surrounded by beautifully manicured gardens and wooded parkland with extensive pathways. When I stepped inside the gates of this castle, I was in awe. And if the exterior had that effect on me, you might imagine how amazed I was wandering through the private and public rooms in the two restored wings of this castle. It's a remarkable place with a fascinating history, and you're going to love visiting Kilkenny Castle. I can guarantee you. The bottom middle picture. Let me see. The bottom middle picture is the enormous, that's the picture of the enormous 17th century main gate. I took this photo when I was standing outside of the walls, looking into the castle grounds. And the picture right next to it on the right-hand side is from inside the castle walls, looking out of those massive gates. And between them, you can see a peak of what was once the massive and impressive stables, the carriage house, and the servants' quarters, which now houses the Kilkenny Design Centre, where you can, find unique items to take home with you that can't be found anywhere else in Ireland. It houses an art gallery and lovely shops, along with a food hall, and it is an excellent stop after visiting the castle. The picture on the top left-hand side of the screen is taken inside the castle, and that's a picture of the gallery or the long gallery, as it's called. And on the bottom left side of your screen is a picture of me and my two traveling companions. And while we're at Kilkenny Castle, and you can't tell how far away we are from the castle. Where this pic, we were quite a ways back in the grounds of the castle, and we still couldn't fit the Kilkenny Castle into our picture frame. But yeah, you will be totally awed at the size of this impressive castle. And in that small picture in the center, that's of the rose garden section of the castle grounds. Beautiful rose garden. So then day 13, we are actually going to head towards Dublin, back towards Dublin, traveling through on our way through the scenic Wicklow Gap. We're going to arrive at Glendalough, which means Valley of Two Lakes. It's located in the Wicklow Mountains National Park, and it is an exquisite valley, renowned for its medieval monastic settlement, which was founded by St. Kevin in the 6th century. You'll experience a short audio-visual presentation. Then you're going to explore and learn more about the site on a guided tour. And after the tour, you're going to take the scenic walk to the pristine and beautiful Upper Lake, a must-see. If any of you are familiar with the movie or watched the movie Leap Year, and there was the wedding that they attended, and they're all lakefront in front of this lake where the reception is happening outside. That is the Upper Lake, and that's where that scene throughout the movie Leap Year was filmed. It's beautiful. This stop is serene, it's peaceful, and it's really beautiful in every way. And pictures truly just do not do it justice. There, the picture on the left side of your screen is just one of the 6th century buildings in the monastic settlement there. The top right-hand picture is an image of the scene and the trail as you're going through the area, walking to the upper lakes. The bottom image in the center there is of the upper lake. And again, on the other 2 images there are just more shots of the monastic settlement there. Then we're going to arrive in Dunboyne for our last night. We're going to spend it there in a fabulous property that was it's located on the site of a former castle, and it's surrounded by 21 acres of lush woodland and beautiful gardens. And it's going to be hard to believe that you're only 20 minutes from the Dublin city center, and truly it's going to be a nice short commute to the airport in the morning for our flights home. But in that evening, we're going to all gather together for a farewell dinner where we can reminisce about our Irish adventures and enjoy some good old Irish, as the Irish like to say, crack, meaning fun, laughter, and enjoyable conversation. I absolutely love Ireland, and I know you will too. And before I turn the presentation back over to Leanne, I'd like to leave you on this St. Paddy's Day with a short Irish blessing. May you have good fortune throughout your days, and many shamrocks underfoot soften your way. May the mischief of leprechauns fill your pot with gold, and may you visit Ireland once, its beauty to behold. And back to you, Leanne. So I guess at this point, Leanne, I'm going to ask you to come back on with me here, and we can get to some questions and hopefully get some answers for the ladies or the people that are watching us this evening.
Sure.
Again,
that's great.
If you haven't done so, now is a great time to enter those questions into that Q&A box located on your screen. And if you've joined us on Facebook, by all means, make sure you type your questions into the comment section, and we'll try to get to as many as we can here.
Sounds good. Thanks, Cindy. I know this has made me really want to get over to Ireland. It's a beautiful country with lots of history, and it looks beautiful.
Oh, it is. I'm telling you, it's incredible.
Yeah. We have a couple questions from our guests. Any time for a round of golf on this tour?
That's a great question. I know in Doolin that there is a golf course, a links course right there. That when we walked from the marina back into the town of Doolin, that we passed, and I'm a golfer. And I was traveling with 2 individuals that don't golf, so I didn't get a chance to get on the links myself. So I know that's something I must do next time I travel to Ireland. But there's always time to fit things in that you might like to do. There is free time in the Doolin area. We are busy, we've got a lot going on this tour, but I'm sure somehow we could maybe manage to squeeze in a round of golf.
Good. Another question. Do you know, Cindy, was the stone hauled in, or was it found on the land for the building and fences?
That's a great question. No, everything was local. On the Aran Islands, I think that's what you're speaking to. And there are ancient forts there that the ring forts that were kind of shown in some of the images there that we visit too, and they're all dry stacked. There is not a stitch of mortar in those fences. And they were all sourced locally.
Okay, good. There's another question. What is the main economy of Ireland?
A great question. I would say tourism is top in Ireland, and I think it's farming.
I just had a quick look online too.
Good girl.
Trade and export are some of the main components of
Right.
Ireland there too,
Yeah.
but definitely tourism would be up there. Agricultural
Agriculture, yeah,
outputs, livestock, things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, other important
cattle.
products are cereals, poultry, eggs, sheep wool, root
Yeah.
crops, including sugar beets and potatoes. So
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
a bit of everything.
Yeah, they do. Yes.
Yeah, good. Last question that I see here. Do you offer COVID insurance? And I can quickly touch on that if you don't mind, Cindy.
No,
So
please
you
do.
will want to contact your travel agent, and they will be able to help you with getting the proper insurance to cover you for your trip. But at this time, yes, there is COVID insurance available through different insurance companies. So
Excellent.
hopefully in the next couple of months, we don't have to worry so much about that, but there is coverage for you.
Oh, that's good to hear. I know things are changing in the world of COVID, and
Things are changing all the time. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Do we have any more questions?
Looks like they're inquiring more about the insurance. Is it COVID quarantine insurance if you must quarantine? So yes, that's something that you'll want to talk with your travel agent about. But from what I understand is that you will, there are insurances that do cover quarantine, but that's something that you want to talk to your travel agent. Depending on which province you live in, there's different coverages with different insurance companies, and they all have different components to them. So that's something that you will want to investigate a little bit more locally with your local travel agent, or you can give us a call and we can get you some more detailed information on that, depending on your location and things like that.
Excellent. Excellent.
Question on do you need to be triple vaxxed for your tours? So currently we are requiring you to be double vaccinated, which qualifies as being fully vaccinated. At this time, I don't believe Ireland is requiring a booster shot. Cindy, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, again, those things are changing constantly all the time. And you know, we check that information out as well. But I know there are countries out there where you do have to have the booster, and obviously we have to adhere to all of those. So if the country demands that you're triple vaxxed, then you have to be triple vaxxed to go on our tours as well. Yeah,
for sure. And we do look into that prior to the departure. So we will let you know if that's something that is required from the country that you're traveling to.
for sure.
We had a couple questions on Facebook here. How long is the trip? So this one is 16 days. 16 or 14?
I think it's actually 14 or 14.
Yeah, 14
the 15th.
days.
It's July 15th to the 29th. So I think it's like truly 15 when you
14,
count them
2
all.
weeks. Yeah. Perfect. There's a couple. Hello from Elaine was watching. Hello from Diane. Monique is watching from Winnipeg. Hello, everybody.
Nice.
That was a little while ago, so I may have missed them now. Elaine asks, will we have time to go to the Bleak factory?
Oh, the Bleak factory. I know exactly what you're talking about. No, we don't necessarily make a stop at Bleak on this particular tour. No, we don't. That's one thing that we don't get to see. Trust me, on this tour, it is 14 days and it's localized. I mean, I know I could spend months in Ireland and not see everything that I wanted to see. But on this tour, it's really about experiencing the local life and the countryside and experiencing the people, the sites, the culture, the history. Bleak, unfortunately, we wouldn't have time to stop at. If we run ahead of schedule and we happen to be going by, I know the Irish people are very accommodating. So, itineraries do change from time to time, but it isn't planned on this particular tour.
Perfect. One thing also to mention is that you're always welcome to go ahead of the group or stay after the group. If you want to spend a little bit more time in any destination that we offer, that is always an option, and we can help make arrangements with hotels and your flights and things like that if you want to stay extra or go ahead a little bit early. So
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that is all I see for questions.
Okay.
So
Well,
I just wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to sit with us tonight and learn a little bit more about Women Explorers and our tour to Ireland. And if you want to reach out to us, you can contact us via email at explorers@westworldtours.com, and that's XPLORERS@westworldtours.com. You can follow us on Facebook at westworldtours.com. Visit your local travel agent for more information. You can follow us online, visit our website, westworldtours.com. And we look forward to hearing from you. And thanks again for joining us on this St. Patrick's Day evening.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you all again for joining us. And I know that we'll be following up with everyone. Likely tomorrow, you'll receive an email with all the details, with a link to all the details for the information on this particular tour. And yeah, we're hoping you can join us and come to Ireland. You won't be disappointed. Thanks again.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.